Welcome one and all to F1 2021 and welcome one and all to the Bahrain International Circuit in the desert of Sakhir. It's where the season starts for Formula 2. It's where everyone starts their career mode in Formula 2. And what better place to kick things off in the F2 Hotlap and setup video. It's the most used track really in time trial for F2. Just because that's the first one that people drive in career mode. It's the first one of the actual season. So it's quite a competitive leaderboard. We managed a lap in P8 at 1 minute 38.189. The highest Carlin up there and not too far off the top spot. So got to be pretty happy with that overall. But let's dive into the setup. I'm going to go with that first. 3.8 for the wings. Relatively low, but having that high rear end gives us a nice stable rear in the mid sector. 40% on allows good traction and really prioritise getting the power out of the corners. Camber, we're going quite high, really have good grip, so maybe want to reduce that if you're going to have a racing and tyre wear, and toe is in a little bit higher on the rear, just to get a bit better responsiveness. The suspension is soft at the front, and at the rear it's really firm. That's to have a nice solid rear end. We want to get really responsive rear end, but the front is going to allow us to deal with the bumps, and almost the front can guide us through the corner and just stamp the rear and get a nice solid exit. Brake bars 54, it's down to personal preference. And then tyres follow the similar trend to the suspension. A little bit softer on the front, harder on the rear. And that's just going to allow us to really punch out the corners because the exit is so important in Formula 2. You really want to get a good exit and carry the speed as best you can down the next straight to the next corner. Down towards turn number 1 though, braking just before the curving starts around 150 metres. Get the nose tucked in best we can. And now jam on the power in second gear. Full throttle, lift up a little bit. As we go through turn 2 in third gear, all over the curve and exit of 3. DRS open out. We're climbing up the hill towards turn number 4. And the first sector is almost done. Braking really early, just about the 100 metre board. Using all the entry we can. Get the car really tucked into the corner. Wind on the power. And look at that gaining time as we dart into the deep part of the middle sector now. We're winding our way through 6, 7, and now down towards 8, getting nice and tight into the hairpin and actually using first gear to help the rotation and help us get the power. And look at that, getting loads of time now as we straight line pretty much turn 9, thinking about turn 10, really trying to wind our way in, getting a lot of time on the entry, losing it in the mid part, but getting it all back on the exit once again now. Now in the third of the 3 DRS zones. Racing now down towards turn 11 again. We're going to use all the entry available to us and almost a little bit more. A little bit deep though into turn 11 and actually allows us to get a good exit as we're fighting the power and using all of the entry once again on turn 12. Little bit wide through 12, but now on the exit we're all over the curb in towards 13, using the curb on the inside, trying to get the power on as early as we can to try and get an absolute launch towards the final 2 corners. Only 1, but there are actually 2. And we'll think about where we're going to brake. We're going to brake just around the 100 metre board. All the curb on the entry, a little bit wide. We're going to wind on the power as quickly as we can, run towards the line. Now we're going to be gaining time and DRS wide open. It's going to be 1 minute 38.189, which put us 8th in the world leaderboard. A pretty nice lap overall. There's time to be found, of course. That's the joy of the F2. Putting a lap together is so difficult. Getting each little part perfect is difficult because these cars are quite hard to drive. And that's the fun of F2. I do love that challenge. Down towards turn 1 again, braking just about the curbing, about 150 metres. Getting the nose tucked in. Missed the airbags by a little bit, but we got into that little dip and then just shooting out of the corner best we can, all over the curbs, just hanging on for dear life while putting the power on as quickly as we can. Climbing the hill, we use all of the entry and a little bit more. Braking really early and getting the nose tucked in because it really, getting that power on quicker finds you loads of time on the exit. Now into middle sector, straight line turn 5, into 6, drop it down into 3rd, nice and tight, and then it's just full throttle now in 4th gear round turn 7. Down towards turn 8, again, you want to straight line braking best you can, do all the braking early, and then get the nose in. We use first gear to help the rotation, and then that allows us to have a nice straight exit and get the power much better. Again, straight line the braking in turn 9, and then down in towards turn 10, hanging on for dear life and getting the power as best you can for that 3rd and final DRS straight. Towards turn 11, you want to get yourself nicely positioned on the right-hand side, all over the curb, a little bit tighter would have been more preferable, but again, we got the power on nicely, and to be fair, it was a really good exit. All of the entry on 12, a little bit wide through 12, but again, on to the exit of 12, somehow that was not an invalidation. Through 13 we go. Again, getting on the power best we can and almost getting on the power early allowed us to flick the rear end a little bit and get a better launch towards the final 2 corners. The final 2 corners we go to now. 14 and 15, front gets in, get on the power nicely, and the run towards the line, there's not much more you can do. And Yuki Tsunoda's Carlin, of course, he had a very strong Bahrain last year in 2020 in F2. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you for Spain.